Hey guys, what's up? It's Tyler Kluver. This is the Snapped podcast. So glad that you're joining me. On this podcast, we're going to talk about diet, exercise, mindset, training, sports, performance, and any of the things that we discuss, me or the guests that I bring on, is going to help you get better and help you get healthier in some way or another. We're glad you're here. Sit back, relax. Let's have it. What up, baby? We're back again. I almost didn't do this podcast. I can't really hear myself. Am I low right now? How about now? That should be better. I think we're talking now. Welcome in to the Snapped podcast. Today is going to be an interesting episode. And it's a funny kind of wraparound here. I think that today I had a lot going on. I didn't have a lot going on. That's a lie. But my wife is home now from teaching. She's a teacher. Probably have said that before. And so it's summer. And because I have the ability to, I like to front load the day, especially because she's doing a little summer school. So I like to be done each day around noon if I can, right? And so I try to get all of my work in. Noon's probably a little early. Done around 1. Done around 1 o'clock. That would include this podcast, of which I consider to be work each day. And it's currently 2:30. And I had an opportunity to do it earlier. I had time, but I just didn't do it. I didn't know what I wanted to talk about. There's a few topics rolling around in my head. I didn't know if I wanted to do something relevant, if I wanted to update on my running and how that's going, or my personal training stuff. And then I realized that just the situation that I was in was something that I could talk about, right? Just that micro instance of, hey, you need to make a decision. And so that's what I want to talk about today is taking action and making a decision, making a quick, active, enthusiastic decision to do, right? To do something. I think this is a problem that probably everybody runs into in some form or another. And I often face it in very small, insignificant ways. Generally, you know, I love, and I think I did a podcast about this. I did one on being productive and efficient with your work. And I talked about in there how part of what I do to do that is I write down everything I have to get done for the day. Big old drink of water there because I'm healthy as fuck. Okay. I write down everything I need to get done for that day. And then I just kind of go after it one by one. And when I write it down, it isn't necessarily in the order that it needs to be done. Oftentimes, the stuff that is first on my mind is the stuff that I'm first going to accomplish or do. But it's kind of just a general list for the day or sometimes even for the next couple days, right? But then, I go down and make lunch, I come back up, or I go for a run, I come back up and I sit there and I look at the list, I go back to um, a period of work during the day, and I'm like, what do I want to do? Like I clearly I'm looking at 3 or 4 things that I need to get done. But do I want to do that? Do I want to do this? I could do that later. And I sit there, and for me, the vice ends up being like YouTube or watching people play video games on Twitch. For some other people, it may be, researching personal hobbies or, I can think of a couple friends that during fantasy football season, they just sit on the fantasy football ESPN app all day and instead of doing their work. And it just got me thinking about like, man, sometimes you just have to take action. You have to tell yourself, you almost have to fake it until you make it, in a sense of just making a decision. And making a decision is so powerful, and I know that I personally have felt how powerful just deciding to do something is. I, for the longest time, have loved watching competitive CrossFit, and I've loved, not doing competitive CrossFit, but doing hard workouts that make me feel like, "Oh, I could compete with the best," right? And I love everything about it. I've even been a CrossFit coach. But and I've always pictured myself as, "Oh, I wish I could compete with the best. I wish I could be with the best of those guys, do competitions, stuff like that." But I just never made that decision. I never did it, right? And then it just so happens about a month ago when came out with that episode of my next, I'm gonna be a CrossFit athlete 2022 or whatever. That day, I had made the decision in my mind, and it was also sparked by some some extra, inspiration that was happening inside of the CrossFit season. But I just made it up in my head, and I was like, "You know what? I don't have a lot of time relative to being at the top, like, being at my peak potential as far as what I could potentially do in CrossFit, the competitive scene, at least." A lot of that is based on, in the next 5 years, I'm gonna have the start of a family at some point. Um, and once you have a family, training 2, 3 hours a day and working and taking care of kids and spending time, it just unless it is your life and you make it your life, which I don't want it to be, uh, then you aren't gonna be able to reach your potential, right? And if I can't reach my potential, then the goals will change, right? But I want to attack these more aggressive goals right now. And so I just made the decision. I was like, all right, well, before we have kids in the next couple of years, I am going to I'm going to do this. I'm going to start training upwards of an hour, 90 minutes, 2 hours a day, which is still very low for a CrossFit athlete. But I'm going to put in the max effort that I can allow myself to see where this goes. And immediately things started happening. I did a podcast about it. My training immediately shifted. I started actually my workouts got better because I suddenly had more intent and a goal and a reason of why I was doing stuff. And it was just from making that decision in my mind, right? Some of some of the, some of this could manifest itself in the way of as simple as uh God, in my family, and in many families, because I know it's a joke, is where are we going to eat tonight? Like, what do you want to eat? Nothing's on the schedule. We didn't plan anything. Let's go out to eat. Okay, where do you want to go? And the conversation takes a goddamn hour, right? And by the time you make a decision, you could have you could have made a decision in 5 minutes, gone to the restaurant, gotten in, sat down, been eating your food before some people have, if you started at that same minute on a stopwatch, those same people are still at their house making a decision on where they want to go. Alters your whole night. And then coming back around to the efficiency and productivity thing, you just wasted so much time. Now you're further into dinner time. Those people who waited to make the decision, they're going to go to the restaurant and have to wait a little bit. Um, and the efficiency of that is just poor. And we get so paralyzed by I want to make the right decision. I want to do the right thing. I don't want it, I don't want to regret this decision because what if there's something better, right? And I think that the way that I think about that stuff is, well, if you get into the rhythm of just making decisions, bang, 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 right? Something comes up. I need to decide on this. Okay, I've made a decision. It doesn't take that long. And some take relatively longer than others. Another drink for the health. Then you know that, okay, you make this decision. Well, now if you get into this situation because of a certain first decision that you made, if you have to make the decision to go back and go the other way, you can do that and it will happen quickly and you can adapt fast and there will be no wasted time, right? And there's also a general larger concept of there is no failure, only learning, right? So if you make the wrong decision in hindsight, well, you learned. But there is failure if you sit around and you waste time because time is the most precious thing we have. And oftentimes you are going to find that the decision you made is more than likely the right one. Our guts are usually right. We usually know which decision is best. And even when we make bad decisions, we're able to adapt, overcome, and course correct very, very well as humans. And so there may be something in your life today or this week or this month or this year. There's different timelines that needs to be decided, right? This is your sign to go make that decision. Just choose. Go one way or the other. And then you can start doing towards that whatever choice you made. If it's the wrong one, okay, you'll go back. But you might be able to find that out and go back and restart down the other path before you would have ever made the decision in the first place. Don't be scared of what's on the other side. It's exciting. And be open for the opportunity to learn. And then the last piece of that is be enthusiastic about it. Because when you bring enthusiasm with decisiveness, good things happen. Good things just always happen. Look back in your life at some times where you enthusiastically decided to do something. I'm willing to bet that you don't find many instances where you were like, "Oh, I wish that would have went the other way." And probably those times ended up being some of the best times of your life or some of the best experiences you've ever had, right? So, whatever it is, decide right now and go do it. Start doing. I hope you guys have a fantastic week. And as always, we'll be back next time. Peace.